everybody, it's Tony. How's everybody doing? I just wanted to come on here because it's day 4. It's day 4 of our Reimagine School Challenge. And, first of all, I hope everyone's staying healthy. I hope everyone's doing well. And thank you guys for watching the videos. It's as a way for me to reflect too. And I saw a post today about, don't overcommit yourself to doing like all of these things during this time. I think that's what we do, just like we do it in the summertime. If we're educators, we think, all right, this summer I'm going to get all this stuff done, which is great and wonderful and amazing, but don't put that pressure on yourselves to do all that. It's time right now to stay healthy. Make sure you're exercising. Make sure that you're getting some fresh air and just taking care of yourself and your family during this time and reflection. So that's why I'm doing this little series, because I think, definitely I need it, and I'm hoping someone else might benefit. So here we go. And if you're an educator, there's educational applications as well. So here we go. Today. Okay, so let's recap. Really quick recap. Day 1, reimagine relationships. So we talked about how that looks different and how we really need to reflect on how we relate to people at our schools, but also in our homes and things like that. So that was the first one. And then the E stands for reimagine environment. So your environment at home, your environment at school. How can you reimagine that environment so that it is better suited to what your goals are, right? Then yesterday we talked about reimagining instruction. And again, that's school applications, but there's also life applications there. We talked a lot about the power of questions and what questions are you asking not only at school, but of yourself and to continue your growth, right? So today, the M. We are up to the M in reimagine. And I want to focus on messages. Messages. Reimagine messages. Now, this is interesting because I feel like as school leaders, we always have a message to give. And it's a matter of how we give it. That's super important. It's much more important than the message. And so that's always interesting to me. And I remember one of my mentors told me that, when you're sick of saying it, that's when everyone's going to get it. And it's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, here we go. Reimagining messages. So this is kind of what I was thinking about today. Not only the messages we put out to others, but the messages that we put in our own mind. So like the messages we tell ourselves. And, I know it's only day 4, but like, if you're like me and you like to work and you like to be at work with your work family, your staff family, it's kind of weird. And we've already been contacting each other and stuff like that. But what messages are you telling yourself and what messages are you telling the people at your school? Or if you're a teacher, what messages are you telling your kids in your classroom, right? Okay. So remember, it's not just about, this is so critical. It's not just about what comes out of our mouths, actually. It is also what we write, what we text nowadays, what we post. Everything is a message. So that's a lot. I just think, oh my gosh, what pressure that is, right? So we have to reimagine our messaging, because if you're a teacher, if you're an educator, if you're in a school, your staff, everyone learns differently and everyone receives messages differently. And so how can you differentiate for those different ways that people get messages? Like, I know some of my staff, email's the way to go. Others, face-to-face is the way to go. Some would rather get a text. So there's so many different things to think about as a leader. So the people that you lead, whether you're a department head, superintendent, whatever you are, business owner, how do you get your messages out to your people? And we need to reimagine that a little bit. So let me give you just a little bit of of history of this, and I think we often say, like, body language is the most important, which it is, but I really wanted to dig into that today, and so I did some reading about Dr. Reimagine in the 50s, and he did this monumental work about messaging and body language and what percent is what. So let me give that to you. Here we go. So 55% of your message is visual, nonverbal. I know a lot of times we say it's 80%, but just hold on, because I've said that too, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. Now that we look at the research, so 55% is visual, nonverbal. That's your body language. So I know when I'm having a day and the kids come in and I'm not having the greatest day, I have to remind myself that what they see is more important than whatever. If I say hi and I say it with like a frown, or I say it like looking sad, or I just say it as if like I'm annoyed, it's super hard. Principling, I will always say this, principling is the hardest job I've ever had, but it also is the most rewarding job I've ever had. So how do you balance that? But so 55% of your message is visual, nonverbal. Okay, here we go. 38% of your message is vocal. So this is huge, and I don't think we think about this as much. But could you imagine if I was doing this talk with you and I was just talking like this and I said 55% is nonverbal and 38%? Well, I couldn't imagine that, right? You don't want to listen to that. Nobody wants that. I mean, Siri, I guess, is close enough to that, right? You don't want that, okay? But we have to remember 38% is our tone, our inflection, and other sounds. And I think that's the problem when it comes to like text messages and you want to tell someone something and you want to emphasize, like I'm doing right now. How do you do that in a text? That's usually why it doesn't work. And like, I don't know, I text, we all do. But when it's something that's critical, you want to talk to the person, and even better, you want to talk to them in person, right? So 38% vocal. 7%, guys, 7% are the words only, the verbal part. 7% of your message really is that. 7% of your message comes from the words that you say. So interesting. So interesting. So we have to, as school leaders, as teachers, as educators, we have to reimagine the way we message people. And right now it's critical. Like, I did a Zoom conference with my teachers. They jumped on if they wanted to. It was so awesome to see them. That would have been totally different if it was just an email or if it was just like texting them. So, because I got the whole message of how they were feeling. So powerful, guys. So powerful. So I just challenge you, if you're a school leader, or if you're a business leader, if you're a leader, which we're all leaders in some way, right? But especially if you lead a group of people, think about, reimagine how you deliver your messages. So how do you deliver your morning message? I mean, I have a really small school, so 100 kids, we meet every single morning. I don't know what that's going to look like when we return back to school with all in the wake of all this, but yes, we meet all together, and I like to message them face to face during that daily interaction. But what does that look like? How do you message your parents? How do you message your kids? And again, like I said, just like we all have different learning styles, people have different message styles too. So we need to think about that. Video is so powerful. Like, a lot of our kids connect with video, and they would much rather watch a video than be on the phone or read something. So think about how you deliver messages to the people that you lead. And like I said, in a school, maybe mix it up, because not always is the intercom the best way to do it. They need to also see your face, and they also need to maybe read something that you wrote. So as I'm challenging myself to mix it up, because also I see them every day in the morning. But I need to challenge myself to mix that up, because I can't just do it that way. And the thing that's challenging to me is that that's my preferred way. And I think that's their preferred way from what I feel back from them and their engagement and excitement. And so we need to figure out how to do it other ways, because I got to get them prepared too for other forms of messaging. There's some awesome people I want you to follow if you don't already, because they got messaging down. Like, these people are people that I look up to, and they're just amazing. And these happen to be all educators, because I am an educator. So, but you can learn so much. We learn from the business world. We learn from, obviously, educators, but you can, in reverse, business leaders can learn from educators as well. So here we go. The person I think does an amazing job of the body language message is Ron Clark. Ron Clark. I mean, I love him. I think he's amazing. I strive to get that body language down. The passion that he has comes through in every message that he gives. So if you don't follow Ron Clark on Twitter, Instagram, and all those, Facebook, please check him out. And he is he's the founder of the Ron Clark Academy, along with Kim Bearden, and she's another one that's amazing. So I'll talk about her in a second. So definitely, Ron Clark's got it down with the body language. So if you are struggling with that, check him out, because, man. And it's interesting, because you don't want your body language to be robotic. You want it to be authentic. And he has that. And that charisma comes through and shines through. And he's just an example of how to master body language to get your message across. Okay. Second thing, we talked about the vocal tone, inflection, and other sounds, and just telling a story. Hands down, it's Hal Bowman. Hal Bowman, like, I still remember the conference that I went to, and it was just like him, and I mean, this is the beginning of his career, and it was just him, a chair, and I mean, he just told stories, and the way he told them with the sounds and the inflection. I mean, I have to get better at storytelling. If you don't follow Hal Bowman, please check him out. HalBowman. So he's also an educator that is amazing. And if you didn't hear of him, you should, because he's awesome. And I know a lot of you have heard of him and follow him, and just check it out, because he talks to very cool people, and he's doing a series. So check it out. But he knows how to really get that vocal variety. I used to be a Toastmaster. If you don't know what that is, it's like a communications club, and vocal variety is what we want. All right? You don't want to be monotone. And then we talked about 7% of the words, because it's about being concise. It's about delivering your message in a concise way that's clear, but also passionate, exciting, and actionable. The person that does that the best, Joe Sanfilippo. Man, he does. If you don't know him, check him out on Twitter at Joe Sanfilippo. F-I-L. Let me just make sure I spelled it right. F-I-L-L-I-P-P-O. Let me just make sure, because S-A-N-F-E-L-I-P-P-O. Joe Sanfilippo. So he does this 1 minute walk to work. He's a superintendent. Amazing, because you leave that 1 minute. In 1 minute, which I need help with, because obviously I'm going on and on. I don't know how long it's been already, but in that 1 minute, he delivers the information in a way that you just want to go do it. And it's clear to understand, and you are ready to go. Check him out. Check him out. So in your life, how can you use this information? Well, how are you messaging your family, your kids, yourself? What internal messages are you telling yourself each day? One of the things I like to do is I like to put messages on the bathroom mirror. So in the bathroom, there will be Just like a message, it could be a Bible verse, it could be a quote, whatever I need that day. I know I'm going to see it there every single day. So we have to reimagine messages. How do we message people for the greatest effect, the greatest impact, so that they know that we care, that we are listening, that we want them to be their best? And so that comes for our kids, at school, at home. How do we message people, and what is their preferred way? You can even ask them, because a lot of times that really helps too. So today, reimagine messages, and help me and I'll help you, and we'll work together on this. But remember, it's mostly your message is your body language and your vocal variety and how you say something. And then the words are important too, obviously. But we have to think more about those other facets of it, and how can we also step out of our comfort zones and do something different, like these videos. So I didn't always do videos, and I still find it a little bit uncomfortable. But you know what? It's about stepping out of your comfort zone, try to message a different way. And if you're having, you're struggling with some messages for yourself, make sure that you reframe your messaging and what you're telling yourself as well, because that comes out in your message to others. So I hope you have a great, great evening. I'll see you tomorrow, and we will reimagine something that starts with an A. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. And I thank you guys for being on and listening. And I appreciate this reflection time together. Have a great evening.